Today I want to talk about 5 planning mistakes to avoid.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional. He is Tim Stearns, CFP, founder, advisor at TJ Stearns Inc., Chicagoland's resource for a common sense approach to planning with your money, with your investments, for your financial and retirement future, ladies and gentlemen. Tim, always a pleasure to have you here on the program. Today, we're going to talk about what to do and what not to do, both at the end of the year and for getting ready for retirement.
That's right, Peter. Today I want to talk about 5 planning mistakes to avoid. So things that, towards the end of the year, we need to make sure that we get under control and make sure we're understanding exactly where we're going, and some things that you definitely do not want to do in order for you to have financial security. Avoid these 5 planning mistakes.
I mean, if we can avoid mistakes in general in many aspects in life, Tim, that goes a long way in helping to increase the likelihood of success, right?
Exactly. I mean, you want to have a plan, a strategy, how to get there. When in our different classes, and now I've been speaking in libraries for our workshops throughout the area, I feel like 9 out of 10 Americans do not have a plan, and 10 out of 10 of them want to have a plan. And they just haven't known how to do it. Or could it be laziness? I don't know. But I think it's more, they don't know where to start. And it just seems like such a riddle to them, and something that is so big that they don't want to tackle it. Well, we're here to help with that. And so I want to get into the 5 planning mistakes to avoid.
Yeah, well, certainly one big mistake and something that you should not overlook the opportunity for, ladies and gentlemen, is to get your hands on the book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle. It is the new retirement planning strategy guidebook available by Tim Stearns, authored by Tim Stearns, CFP. And Tim, you typically make a handful of copies available to listeners on the program.
Yeah, we like to get them into people's hands that are investors, savers that have over $500,000 worth of investment assets. Reason being is that our plan works best with that. I'm all about getting people knowledge and that type of thing. And we just want to get into the right hands. So again, the first 10 callers that have over $500,000 in investable assets, will be happy to get the book into their hands.
Well, again, we are going to be reviewing the 5 planning mistakes to avoid. Maybe this is number 6, to overlook your chance to get your hands on a copy of Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle. So go ahead and call now, ladies and gentlemen, 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Just be one of the first 10 callers with at least $500,000 saved or invested for retirement or in your investment accounts. And these strategies do work well to help you solve the modern retirement riddles. And Tim, several of these could be addressed if we avoid some of these mistakes. So we will get into it, but I do want to also mention that this is a report, ladies and gentlemen, that Tim does have available. So if you would like to go over these 5 planning mistakes to avoid on your own time, be reminded of what they are, don't have time to be tuned in for the entirety of the program, just give a call to that same number, 800-640-2256, and request the report of the 5 planning mistakes to avoid. This could go a long way in increasing your likelihood of retirement success. 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, or you can skip the phone call, go online to tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com. So Tim, these 5 planning mistakes to avoid. Number 1, not having a grip on your retirement.
We say grip, meaning a handle, a figure that you have a figure on how you're going to get through retirement. It also can be used as an acronym for Guaranteed Retirement Income Plan. How do you get there? It's all about looking at different financial security that will consist with your Social Security, maybe a company pension, and where you need to supplement with personal savings position and allocate it specifically to fill your income gap. What we're seeing is that a lot of people don't know exactly what their budget is. And by getting a grip on their financial retirement, they can understand whether they can make it through a 30+ year retirement. A lot of people say, well, I only will be retired about 20 years. Well, if you're married, you could be longer than that. The average, there's a couple has over a 50% chance to live to over 85 years old. So these are things that, you need to make sure that you're understanding how you're not going to screw up and you get a grip on your retirement.
And Tim, you mentioned 9 out of 10 Americans, including those already retired, retirees do not have a written plan for retirement. This is what you're talking about here, right? They don't have a grip on the retirement.
No, winging it in retirement, and guessing that you're going to be right and hoping that you're right is not a way to go through retirement. And I promise you, those people out there that are doing that really have in the back of their mind a lot of doubt. And, why have doubt in retirement? You're supposed to be enjoying it. So give us a call and see if we can help you get you on the right track.
Yeah, we want to have confidence. We want to have quality of life. We want to be able to spend money and enjoy ourselves in retirement. Retirement today, a very different phase of life than it was a generation or two ago, just a postscript to a working career, and a rather short one often at that. Whereas today it is a full phase of our lifetime that we want to be active and engaged. And often, Tim, is potentially just as long as that working career. We really do need to have a plan because we've got a finite amount of assets. We've only got a certain number of dollars on day one of retirement, and we've got to make them last for the duration of however long retirement lasts.
Well, so what you're talking about is being a net seller of assets. I include myself in commenting that when I get done working and I'm done with, filling my 401k, the only thing that will make more money go into my 401k, my IRA, is by the market going up. If this is 2022, that's not going to be the case. All right. Or if it's flat for the year, like basically this stock market has been, well, then you're looking at the fact that when I take money out, I'm a net seller of my assets, and I need to use that money to survive. So having a plan, with earmarking money for this is what I'm going to use for the next 3 to 5 years to pay my bills. The next 5 to 10 after that is going to be from this, and so on and so forth, is having a plan. And so make sure you're getting a grip on your retirement.
Not having that grip, Tim, and just banking on investment accounts that are exposed to the market. I mean, like you've said, last year, pretty terrible year, pretty terrible results for most investors. We've seen those times before. This year, thus far, we've heard about this market rebound, but by and large, the market has done that Texas two-step, right? 2 steps forward, 2 steps back without that written retirement income plan, that grip on retirement. How unnerving is that for retirees that want confidence in their ability to spend?
Well, it's been proven that retirees that have a plan, maybe involving an annuity, are happier. They know that their bills are being paid. So to know where my money is going to come from to pick up that supplemental income that I need to fill my gap, that's, you can put a price on that and happiness. And I think that that's something that people need to get a hold of is figuring out, how am I going to do a plan that will last 30 plus years? Because the last thing you want to do is guess wrong and realize in your 80s that, you didn't get it right. And you're going to be needing the federal government for help or family and friends. I mean, can you imagine what that feels like? I can't. So make sure you give us a call. We'll get the book into your hand if you have over $500,000 worth of assets. Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle is the name of the book. I've been told by many different people it's an easy read. It's a real straightforward document saying, how to get through retirement, just like we do here on our radio show.
Yeah, posing the questions and giving a little bit of a different perspective on how to solve some of the things that keep retirees up at night or keep you worried about the ability to spend money, maintain confidence and standard of living once leaving the paycheck behind. And there are a lot of factors in today's world, Tim, a lot of headwinds, a lot of challenges, things that we need to address and overcome. And that is what solving the modern retirement riddle takes, ladies and gentlemen. So if you'd like this report on the 5 planning mistakes to avoid, or if you would like your copy of that book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, just be one of the first 10 callers with at least 500,000 saved for requesting a copy of the book. But anybody, if you are interested in avoiding some of the big planning mistakes, you can request the report. Give a call now, either way, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, the number to call to request the book authored by Tim Stearns, CFP, Chicagoland Certified Financial Planning Professional, 800-640-2256. All right. Well, I like the grip, Tim. I like having a grip and the acronym, the Guaranteed Retirement Income Plan. And that is what will give you a handle on your lasting financial confidence into and throughout retirement. But there are a couple additional mistakes that we want to avoid: taking inappropriate risks. Now, Tim, number 2 on this list, we've always been taught and told that taking some risk with our money is necessary, but there's a level of risk that is appropriate, and then there's inappropriate risk.
So for many years now, people have been using the rule of 100. So if you're 50 years old, you should be putting 50% in stocks, 50% in bonds. What that didn't take into account is the human psyche, that we are either greedy or we are just wanting too much, where we had a 13-year bull market and we didn't rebalance a lot. So you're taking inappropriate risks by doing that, because bonds didn't really perform. So when you're looking at the ability for the market to be very volatile, and you don't understand how much stock you have in your portfolio because your stock has taken up the portion that was supposed to be for bonds, it gives you undue risk. And we run a report for people to show them this. And in this report, it'll tell you, exactly how much risk you actually have in your portfolio. I think a lot of people don't understand that. The averages that we're seeing that call into the show that they lost last year, these people are about 20%. The bond values were down 13% last year on average. And the best index, the S&P 500, was down negative 18%. So the average that we're seeing is around negative 20%. You cannot afford to have losses like that as you're moving into retirement, or you might have just started it, or you're even, down the road in it. Any which way, you need to look at, do I have too much inappropriate risk?
Yeah, too much of anything is not a good solution, right? Is going all in on anything, having too much risk, kind of the Goldilocks scenario, right? Too much, too little, too hot, too cold. We want it just right. And the only way to really do that, Tim, is to really analyze what it is that we hold, and then try to drill down on our risk tolerance level and our risk exposure level, and the necessity to take risk. And Tim, with current rates that are available in this interest rate environment, looking at the potential for market volatility on one side, and then what we can secure on the other side, maybe the incentive to take as much risk as we once did is not so strong any longer.
Right. I mean, one of the good things about, when you're working is that you're dollar cost averaging. So if you're putting money back in that has been lost in the past, that's okay. But again, at the end of the day, when I retire, the only growth I'll have is by the market going up. So thereby, in 2022, when those people lost 20% of their money, how are they going to get back? Well, they thought, the market comes right back like it did at the beginning of this year. But it's been, as you said, the Texas two-step with, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's been, fair to middling, as they say. So I would ask people, what do you have in your portfolio, and make sure you understand it.
And a qualified, experienced financial professional, such as a certified financial planning professional with that fiduciary responsibility to your best interest, ladies and gentlemen, can certainly help you determine that, to drill down on the risk exposure, the necessity for risk, the appropriateness of risk, and your individual risk tolerance, and then help you evaluate the available choices on the spectrum of the financial world and the investment world landscape to see what is appropriate to fill your needs and help you achieve and accomplish your goals into the future. And Tim Stearns is that resource for the Chicagoland proactive savers and investors. And if you've got questions, concerns, would like that complimentary review and risk profile as part of the strategy session and getting your written retirement plan put together, pick up the phone now, give a call. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256, as well as a few copies still left of Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, the new book by Tim Stearns, CFP, which addresses and identifies many of today's challenges, things that can affect and erode our financial confidence, discusses the fact that we need to take a look at these things in a different way, flip the financial planning and retirement planning industry and methodologies on their head, look at things from a different perspective, and figure out how to solve these so we can have lasting financial confidence. And that's what the book is about, the steps that you need to take, some of which are avoiding these 5 planning mistakes that we are talking about on today's show. Number 1, not having a grip on your retirement, that guaranteed retirement income plan. Number 2, taking inappropriate risk. Number 3, Tim, a gross planning mistake. What is this one, and why do we need to avoid it?
Well, what most baby boomers that we've come into contact with have is a huge tax time bomb, right? So what that is, is that we've been told by our parents and anyone that we'd want to listen to, that in the 80s, when we started our 401ks, we should put our money in there to defer the tax down the road, right? So now I have a huge portfolio, hopefully, of tax deferred money that I've never paid taxes on. So when people when we ask someone, how much do you want to live on when we're doing an income allocation plan, is they'll say $100,000. And I have to ask them, where is this money coming from? Oh, well, it's going to come from my old 401k, my IRA, what have you. Well, is that a gross number or net number? What do you mean? Well, the IRS, your partner for life, has an idea for your money, which is they're going to take probably around 25% of it at least, just for federal taxes when you're taking money out of your portfolio. So we need to make sure, are we using net numbers for the retirement plan, or are we using gross numbers? And then we have to figure in what the taxes would be. So a gross planning mistake is when we don't figure in the fact that we've never paid taxes on the IRAs or the 401ks.
And Tim, it's not what you have, it's what you get to spend, right?
Absolutely.
That gross versus net, the taxes are what stands in the middle. We've got to plan proactively for that, because Tim, as long as those dollars stay in those tax deferred accounts, they are not only yet to be taxed, but also subject to changes in tax law and legislation, of which we expect to see some on the horizon.
Right. And taxes are going to go up. Everyone in my classes, everyone in my workshop says that. People who call into the show tell us that. So we know we need to pay the tax man, and make sure that you're figuring in that into your numbers, because if you have $1 million in your IRA, it's not all yours. It's going to go, some of it's going to go to the IRS. That's how it works. So don't make a gross planning mistake.
Number 3 on the list of the 5 planning mistakes to avoid. Don't take a look at that 401k number, that IRA number, and think that is what you get to live off of. So again, we've got that finite amount of money, that lump sum on day one of retirement. If we get to forget to factor in what is one of our largest expenses, probably our largest known certain expenses, taxation, well, that's a big piece right off the top that we may have forgotten to account for, or just don't truly understand the significance of. Tim, you've got some great reports. You can run some analysis there in your office that help people not only identify what that bill might be, and therefore what they actually can predictably spend in retirement out of their nest egg, but also oftentimes shows savers and investors how to control and manage and reduce and minimize that bill pretty significantly.
Yeah, our tax analysis report will tell you exactly, if you have, let's say $500,000 in a retirement plan, what you will pay in taxes over your lifetime. Number one, you're going to pay taxes when you have to take your required minimum distributions out. Number two, a lot of people who take their required minimum distributions out use a little bit of it maybe, or don't use it at all and put it back in a taxable investment. Now you're paying taxes a second round there. And then lastly, when you pass away, because of the Secure Act, your family will have to take out all the money out of your IRAs within 10 years. So there's 3 tax bills there: yours when you reinvest, and lastly, your family's. So what this report shows you is, well, how can I start to mitigate that? I want to fix that. I don't want to have to pay as much as I see on this report. How do I do that, Tim? And so we move the money over and we start doing some Roth conversions and that type of thing.
And the IRS loves when you just continue to let those dollars grow and defer in that tax deferred account, right, Tim? I mean, if growth is your goal with your investments, guess what? The IRS shares that goal with you, because they, like Albert Einstein, understand the power of compounding interest and the fact that they'll get to tax a larger number later on down the road.
Exactly. So the bigger the pot of money, the IRS loves that. So why not get ahead of it and at least look at what your tax bill is currently? You have 2023, 2024, and 2025 until the tax bill sunsets and it goes back to the old taxes. So worth exactly what it is. get some information as to how much taxes you'll be paying over your lifetime and how you could fix it.
Well, again, the number, if you would like to see that comparison, that tax analysis report for your specific situation, you can talk over your specific tax rate and bracket assumptions. You can talk over your accepted assumption for growth on accounts. All of those factors, those variables can be included in the report. And then you kick out that report. It generates you an estimate that if you continue to defer and delay versus if you want to take or consider some proactive steps that can help you reduce, minimize, or at least control that tax bill and understand what you have left out of your 401k or IRA to spend and enjoy over retirement. So again, a complimentary report and tool that is very useful in your planning and to build that confidence for retirement. Just give Tim Stearns, TJ Stearns Inc., Tim Stearns CFP a call, 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, we are moving through the 5 planning mistakes to avoid. Number 4, I get it. This one's tough. This one is really tough, but not caring enough to plan for long-term care. A lot of people say, well, if I experience it, I'll be okay. I'll just accept that. But what about the impact that it has on spouses, on family members, on loved ones? A lot of times that burden is placed on children, or even, son or daughters-in-law have to step in and step out of their own working career, by the way.
Right. 7 out of 10 Americans are going to need long-term care in their lifetime, and 9 out of 10 of us have not addressed it. There are new life insurance plans that have I'll call it a hybrid benefit, where you can actually get chronic care in there. And so actually being able to draw down on the death benefit tax-free for your care if you cannot do 2 of your activities of daily living. Again, my chances are 7 out of 10. I don't like those odds. So I'm going to want to address that and make sure that I have some sort of a long-term care plan. Because if I don't, it could really be detrimental to my wife and definitely my children and even your in-laws.
Again, a planning mistake to avoid, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that there has ever been a perfect solution to this one, right, Tim? Because experiencing any kind of healthcare event is not perfect. We don't live in a perfect world, but better to address it than leave it unaddressed and then therefore vulnerable and exposed to the potential expenses that come along with it.
Exactly. You want to make sure you cover your bases and that you're not leaving yourself open to this terrible thing that could happen. It could be very detrimental to the entire portfolio. And the cost of this care is crazy. I have a buddy in Indianapolis that is paying $100,000 a year for, well, his wife is paying it, and that's with her helping out. $100,000 a year. He is 58 years old, and he's had massive strokes and thereby needing of tons of care daily, 24/7 at his house in a hospital bed. No one wants to see someone go through that, and it's going to be detrimental to their entire formula that they had for retirement. It's the strategies go out the door because he didn't address it. And, I'm sure he would be kicking himself if he was alert to do that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's the reality of health. Sometimes it catches us by surprise. In fact, most of the time, and therefore ahead of time, while we are well and of sound mind and body, that is the time to address that potential, ladies and gentlemen. None of us are Superman or Superwoman. We've got to just admit that and then plan carefully for how to cover that potential cost and expense. And there are reasonable, acceptable ways to do so. And you just need to explore them, talk them over with an experienced, qualified professional, such as Tim Stearns, CFP, who is also making his new book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, available to listeners, to viewers, to callers to the program today. All you need to do is pick up the phone, give a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Be one of the first 10 copies available to callers with at least $500,000 saved or invested for your financial and retirement future. The strategies described do work best if you meet that description. So give a call now, request your copy, and receive a copy of Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle. 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, we got time on the program to get to one more, and luckily only 5 on this list. Time to actually complete a full list on the program. Not using Social Security to provide effective financial security. Mistake number 5.
Yes. I mean, how important is Social Security to people? Everyone knows what it's supposed to do for them. And, some people are living on just that. It's supposed to be only 40% of our income in retirement. But that being said, when do I turn it on? Do I take it at age 62 where I only get 75% of my full retirement benefit? Or do I wait till my full retirement? Mine is 67 years old. Or do I wait till age 70 and let it grow by 8% each year? These are things that need to be determined. Now, if you're married, that adds another piece to the puzzle, whether you should be doing it early, late, or in the middle. So what we do is we use a Social Security optimization reports that will spell out to people, here's where you should do it, here's where you shouldn't do it. No one wants to leave money on the table. And you also want to make sure that you get the money that you've put in over your long working career. So Social Security optimization reports, the ones that we do are above and beyond what they offer on the Social Security website. And I would tell anyone to give us a call. We'll be happy to run a report for you and see where it comes in at so you can understand exactly what the key strategy is for you to do.
Again, if you would like this report of the 5 planning mistakes to avoid, if you were not tuned in for the entirety of the program to hear all 5, if you'd like to go over it on your own time, have a reminder, refresher of these issues that, if you can avoid them, will help increase the chances and odds pretty significantly of lasting financial confidence and success. And then, of course, if you would like a copy of the book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, which goes into more detail about many of the same type of issues that can get in the way of that lasting financial confidence and how to rethink them and solve for them, pick up the phone now, give a call. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, appreciate you being here as a resource. Fantastic book. Read through it. Did not take me too long. Was in fact an easy read. I do agree with that statement that you made at the beginning of the program, but I think does look at things in a very different way. And I think more proactive Chicagoland area savers and investors should call now, request it, would benefit from reading Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle. Thank you for being here as a resource to remind us of what's important with our money.
Peter, thanks for your help. Have a great day.
Always a pleasure. And again, ladies and gentlemen, just a phone call away if you would like to request the book, if you'd like to attend the workshop, the classes, if you'd like your personal reports on taxes, on risk, get a grip on retirement, that guaranteed retirement income plan, all that put together. Pick up the phone now, give a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stern's full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.